Have you ever been overwhelmed by sadness, anger, or fear, and felt like those emotions were you? That somehow, you had become the anger, the anxiety, the storm? What if I told you, you are not your emotions? You are not the sadness. You are not the anger. You are not the fear. You are the one watching them, the one holding them, the one who can let them pass, like clouds in a wide, open sky. In the next 70 minutes, we won't fight your emotions. We won't run from them either. We'll gently sit beside them. With the calm presence of Buddhist wisdom, we'll learn how to return to ourselves, again and again, with compassion, clarity, and deep inner peace. This is not about escaping life. It's about living it, more awake than ever. So breathe in, let the journey begin. Have you ever said to yourself, I am angry, I am sad, or, I am anxious? Most of us have. It's natural. We grow up in a world where emotions are treated not just as experiences, but as identities. The moment we feel something intense, we don't just notice it, we become it. But in Buddhist wisdom, there is a clear and liberating truth. You are not your emotions. In the teachings of the Buddha, there's a concept called anatta, or non-self. This does not mean you don't exist. It means that the self, as we usually think of it, is not fixed, not solid, and not owned. Your thoughts, your body, your feelings, your memories, they are part of your experience. But they are not your essence. They come and go. And emotions are exactly like that. Let us take anger. For instance, when anger arises, it feels overwhelming. The heart races, the breath quickens, the mind sharpens into a point of heat and judgment. In that moment, it's easy to believe, I am this anger. But pause, observe, in just an hour or two, that same anger may fade, replaced by something else, perhaps guilt, calmness, or even laughter. So which one is truly you? In the Anatta Lakkhana Sutta, the Buddha said, this is not mine. This is not what I am. This is not myself. He was referring to the body, to sensations, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness, the five aggregates. These are the building blocks of our moment-to-moment experience. And all of them, the Buddha said, are impermanent. If something is impermanent and subject to change, it cannot be what you truly are. This may sound philosophical, but it has very practical implications for our everyday life. When you realize that your emotions are not who you are, a space opens up, a space between the feeling and your identity. In that space, peace is born, freedom is born. You can still feel, you can still respond, but you're no longer imprisoned. Imagine you are sitting by a river. Emotions are like the water flowing past. Sometimes it's calm, sometimes turbulent, but you are not the water. You are the observer on the riverbank. This perspective allows you to be present with your feelings without being swept away by them. You don't have to suppress them. You just don't have to merge with them. Let's go deeper. Ask yourself, when sadness arises, who is it that notices? Who is aware of the sadness? That awareness, that silent witness, does not cry. It simply knows. Sadness is here. That knowing is stable, quiet, and unshaken. It watches joy, fear, rage, and peace come and go like seasons. We often think that to be a fully alive person, we need to express our emotions. And that is true. Emotions can be powerful, beautiful, and deeply human, but the key lies in balance. Expression without identification. To say, I feel fear, rather than, I am afraid. That subtle shift in language reflects a profound shift in consciousness. It reminds us that this, too, will pass. The problem arises when we grasp onto emotions and say, this is me. When someone insults us and we feel hurt, it's not just pain, it becomes personal. We believe, I was wronged. We replay the insult in our heads, strengthening the emotional wound. But what if, in that moment, you could say, Hurt is present. It is arising in me. But it is not who I am. That is the essence of Buddhist mindfulness. To observe without clinging. To allow emotions their place without granting them authority over your inner self. Just like clouds passing through the sky, emotions pass through the mind. And just like the sky remains untouched by the clouds, so too does your true nature remain untouched by the emotions. Let's take a simple analogy. Suppose you go outside and it begins to rain. You get wet. You feel cold. Do you become the rain? Of course not. You know it is raining. And you respond. Maybe you open an umbrella or find shelter. But you never confuse yourself with the rain. In the same way, when sadness rains down, or anger storms in, we can learn to say, "This is happening. It's real, but it is not me." This understanding is not meant to push away emotions or suppress them. On the contrary, it allows us to fully experience them with compassion and clarity. When we stop identifying with emotions, we stop fearing them, we make space for them, and in that space, they transform. You may have noticed that when you try to resist a difficult feeling, say anxiety, it often grows stronger. But when you breathe with it, welcome it, and simply notice its presence, it begins to soften. Why? Because you are no longer feeding it with resistance or identification. You are simply allowing it to be. And in that allowing, there is profound peace. Now you might wonder, if I'm not my emotions, then who am I? This is a deep question. And Buddhism encourages us to sit with it, not to rush to an answer, but to rest in the mystery. Because the more you try to find the self as a thing, the more it slips away. What you find instead is presence, awareness, spaciousness. These are not things you own, they are what you are. And when you rest in awareness, something miraculous happens. You can feel deeply, love fully, and act wisely, without being controlled by passing moods. You become like a mountain in the storm. The winds may howl, the rain may fall, but the mountain remains. This is what it means to lie from a place of inner stillness. To recognize that emotions are waves, and you are the ocean. They may rise, they may fall, but they do not disturb the depth of who you are. This teaching can be especially liberating for those who suffer from emotional overwhelm, people who feel trapped in cycles of anxiety, rage, or depression. To be told that you are not your emotions is not to invalidate your pain. It is to offer you hope, to show that even in the darkest moment, there is a light inside you that is not extinguished. It takes practice. The first step is simply noticing. The next time a strong emotion arises, pause, breathe, ask yourself gently, who is experiencing this? Do not try to answer with words. Just rest in the question. Feel the spaciousness that opens. That space is freedom. Buddhist practice is not about becoming emotionless. It is about becoming free. Free to feel without drowning. Free to love without clinging. Free to live without fear. In the end, it's not about getting rid of emotions. It's about getting rid of the illusion that emotions are you. Because once you see through that illusion, a deeper self, silent, luminous, peaceful, begins to emerge. Let's sit with that truth for a moment. Just breathe. You are not your emotions. You are the sky that holds them. You are the stillness behind the storm. You are the watcher of the waves. And in that watching, peace arises. When you begin to observe your emotions without holding onto them, something transformative begins to happen. This is the heart of Buddhist mindfulness, the practice of watching without clinging. It is not about ignoring what you feel. It is about learning to feel deeply without being overwhelmed. It's about developing the capacity to be present with whatever arises, without getting lost in it. In Buddhism, this is the foundation of inner freedom. Imagine for a moment that you're sitting quietly, and a strong wave of irritation arises. Perhaps someone has said something unkind, or you remember a painful event. In that moment, the old habit is to react, to judge. to replay the scene, to fuel the fire of anger. But what if you didn't? What if you simply noticed? Irritation is arising, and instead of becoming irritated, you just observed it? This shift, from reaction to observation, is subtle but powerful. It creates space between you and the emotion. In that space, you're not pushing the emotion away, but you're also not letting it take over. You're just being with it, gently, like you would sit with a child who is crying. You don't have to fix anything right away. You don't have to explain. You just stay, breathe, and watch. This is what mindfulness invites us to do. To be a calm witness, not a slave to our inner weather. When you become mindful of anger, it begins to lose its power. When you name fear, it begins to settle. The phrase often used is, name it to tame it. By simply naming an emotion, without judgment, you shift from being inside it to being the observer of it. For example, instead of saying, I'm so anxious, you say, anxiety is present. That language reflects a deeper truth. You are not the anxiety. You are the awareness noticing it. That may sound like a small change, but it has profound effects. It interrupts the automatic loop. It gives your nervous system room to breathe. Try this. The next time you're overwhelmed by a strong emotion, pause and take a breath. Say silently, breathing in, I know anger is here. Breathing out, I smiled to it. This comes directly from the teachings of Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh. He reminded us that we don't have to push emotions away. We can invite them in like honored guests. Hello, fear, I see you. You can sit here, but I will not give you the steering wheel. There is no need to fight what arises. Fighting often strengthens what you resist, but observation brings softening. Imagine the emotion as a cloud in the sky of your awareness. You don't try to blow it away. You just watch it float. Eventually, it passes on its own. Of course, this takes practice. The mind is used to reacting. We are conditioned to judge emotions as good or bad. Joy is good. Anger is bad. Calm is good. Anxiety is bad. But what if we stop labeling them? What if we simply call them what they are? Energy passing through. When a bird sings outside your window, you hear it and let it go. You don't say, I am the bird. You don't cling to the sound. You just let it be. Emotions can be like that, too. Sounds that pass through awareness. Some are loud, some are soft. None of them are you. The Buddha taught that suffering is not caused by pain alone, but by our attachment to it. When we cling to what feels good or resist what feels bad, we suffer. But when we observe both pleasure and pain with equanimity, with balance, we begin to taste true freedom. One of the tools we can use is the body. Emotions don't just happen in the mind, they show up in the body. Anger tightens the jaw, anxiety shortens the breath, sadness makes the shoulders heavy. When we become mindful of these sensations, we bring the tension out of the story and into the present moment. Try scanning your body when a difficult emotion arises. Ask yourself, where do I feel this? Maybe it's a knot in your stomach, or a heat in your chest. Just notice it, don't analyze it, just be with it. You are creating a sacred space of non-judgmental presence. And if tears come, let them come. The Buddha never taught us to be stoic or robotic. He taught us to be awake. And sometimes, awakening includes feeling the depth of sorrow or the sharp edge of grief. But it is feeling with awareness, not drowning in unconscious reactivity. This is the difference between pain and suffering. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Pain happens. But when we resist pain, when we tell ourselves it shouldn't be here, or that it defines us, we multiply it. But if we breathe with it, watch it, accept it, the pain moves through us more gently. This does not mean becoming passive. It means becoming wise. There is a strength in soft observation. It's like the strength of the ocean's depth compared to the surface waves. The surface may crash and churn, But deep down, there is stillness. In daily life, this practice helps immensely. When someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of instantly reacting with rage, you pause, you breathe, you notice the heat rising in your chest. You label it, anger is here. And suddenly, you're not reacting, you're responding. Maybe you still feel the emotion, but you're no longer its prisoner. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes. It's like training a muscle. At first, you might forget, you might still get caught up. That's okay. Each time you remember to observe, you are rewiring your mind. You are strengthening the part of you that is steady, kind, and awake. Over time, you start to notice how many emotions pass through in a single day. Frustration, joy, boredom, excitement, shame, gratitude. They come and go like weather patterns. And you begin to realize, you are the sky, not the storm. You are the awareness that watches. And this awareness is not cold or detached, it is warm, compassionate, and present. One of the gifts of Buddhist practice is the understanding that we don't have to fix every feeling. We don't have to have a solution for every mood. Sometimes, just being with what is, with gentle awareness, is enough. The emotion will teach us what it needs to teach. Then it will move on. There is a beautiful quote by the Buddhist teacher Jack Kornfield. The heart is like a garden. It can grow compassion or fear, resentment or love. What seeds will you plant today? When we observe emotions without clinging, we're planting seeds of peace. We're training ourselves to meet life with clarity and grace. In this practice, we also learn humility. We see that all human beings are riding similar waves. Everyone feels anger, fear, longing, hope. When you observe your own emotions with care, you naturally begin to have compassion for others. You see someone yelling in a store, and instead of judging, you think, they are suffering, just like me. This is how mindfulness transforms not just our inner life, but our relationships. We stop taking things so personally. We see that much of what people say and do is a reflection of their inner weather, not of our worth. And so, we remain steady, open, and kind. The practice of observing without attachment is not just a tool, it's a way of being. It is choosing to live in presence rather than habit. It is a daily choice to come home to yourself, again and again, and each time you return, you find a little more peace. So today, as you go about your life, remember, your emotions are welcome, but they are not in charge. Let them arise, let them pass, greet them with kindness, watch them with wisdom, and rest in the spacious awareness that holds it all. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are not even your joy. You are the one who watches with love. And in that watching, you will find your true peace. There is a gentle power in learning how to sit beside your emotions instead of being ruled by them. Many people think that spiritual practice is about getting rid of feelings, cutting away anger, silencing sadness, purifying joy until it becomes something still and neutral. But the Buddhist path is not about disconnection. It's about connection without drowning. It's about intimacy without identification. It's about making friends with your emotions instead of making enemies of them. To be truly present with our feelings, we must learn to listen, not to the loud stories in the head that try to explain or judge them, but to the quiet voice of the heart that just says, I'm here. Often, emotions are messengers. They come bearing news from deeper places in us. Anger may be the voice of violated boundaries. Grief may carry the shape of lost love. Fear might be the echo of something unhealed. When we meet these emotions with compassion instead of suppression, they begin to soften. They begin to tell the truth. One of the most tender teachings in Buddhist practice is that nothing in you needs to be thrown away. Even the darkest emotion can be approached with curiosity and love. This doesn't mean you act on every impulse or speak every mood. It means you hold space for it, like a wise parent with a crying child. You do not need to argue or agree, you just need to be there. Try this. The next time sadness visits you, don't ask it to leave. Instead, invite it in. Offer it a chair beside your breath. Ask it softly, "What would you like me to know?" And then, listen. Not with your mind, but with your whole presence. Maybe the answer will not come in words. Maybe it will come in tears, or stillness, or a simple exhale. That, too, is truth. Thich Nhat Hanh taught, when you love someone, the best thing you can offer is your presence. How can you love if you are not there? And so it is with your emotions. If you wish to find peace, you must be fully there with what is alive in you. Not fixing, not fleeing, simply sitting. This is not always easy. Some emotions carry old pain. They may feel overwhelming, even frightening. That's why we practice gradually. Like learning to swim, we begin in the shallow end. We breathe with irritation before we try to embrace rage. We sit with discomfort before we meet despair. This is not weakness, it's wisdom. The heart needs time to open. There's a story in the Buddhist tradition about the demon Mara, who represents illusion, fear, and temptation. When Mara came to visit the Buddha, bringing doubt and distraction, the Buddha did not fight him. He did not run. He simply said, "I see you, Mara," and then he offered him tea. This is the perfect metaphor for our inner life. When an emotion like shame or fear arises, we can say, "I see you," and instead of trying to destroy it, we can offer it space. When we stop resisting what is present, it stops having power over us. Compassion is the medicine, but it must begin with yourself. So many people live with harshness in their inner voice. They meet sadness with shame. They meet anxiety with judgment. But no wound ever healed through punishment. Healing begins when we become kind to our own pain. So let's be practical. What does it mean to offer compassionate presence to emotions? First, it means pausing. When something strong arises, stop. Don't rush into thought. Don't escape into distraction. Just be still for a breath or two. Next, name what is happening gently. Fear is here. Shame is here. Tenderness is here. This act of naming opens the door to awareness. Then, feel where the emotion is in the body. Place a hand there if it helps. Say silently, "It's okay. You can be here." This is not approval of destructive behavior. It's approval of being human. You are simply allowing what already is to have a place in your awareness. And in that space, the emotion begins to unfold. Like a tight flower bud, it opens in the light of attention. Some emotions may dissolve quickly. Others may stay a while. That's okay. You don't need to control the timeline. Your job is simply to be kind. And every time you meet yourself with kindness, you build inner strength. You become someone your emotions can trust. This kind of presence also helps us in our relationships. When we learn to sit with our own anger, we become more patient with the anger of others. When we understand our fear, we are less likely to mock or dismiss the fear in someone else. Compassion multiplies. It spills over from within, and slowly, the world becomes a little softer. But compassion doesn't mean indulgence. It does not mean we let emotions control our actions. It means we honor them, learn from them, and respond from wisdom. For example, if anger shows you that a boundary has been crossed, you may need to speak up. But you can do so without aggression. You can let the wisdom of anger speak, not the fire of it. To develop this balance, meditation is essential. Sitting quietly, day after day, teaches us how to watch emotions arise and pass like waves. It gives us the muscle of stillness. In silence, we see that no emotion lasts forever. We learn to trust the impermanence of all things. It can help to visualize your emotions as visitors in a temple. Some are noisy, some are quiet, some stay longer than others. But none of them own the temple. You are the caretaker, the host. You welcome them. You bow to their presence. And you let them leave when it's time. You are not trying to build a prison. You are tending a sacred space. One day, a man asked the Buddha, "How can I stop feeling?" And the Buddha replied, "Why would you want to stop the rain from falling? Better to learn how to walk gently in the rain." This is the essence of Buddhist emotional wisdom. We do not harden ourselves. We soften. We become wise enough to walk gently with all that we feel. And in that gentleness, there is power. The power to choose your response. The power to stay open. The power to live without fear of your own inner world. This is what peace looks like, not a life without emotion, but a life without the illusion that emotion controls you. So the next time you feel something rise up, a wave of doubt, or longing, or sorrow, remember this. You are not weak for feeling. You are wise for noticing. You are strong for staying present. You are awake. And as you sit with your emotions, offer them this blessing. You are welcome. You may stay. And when you are ready, you may go. This simple act of kindness is enough to change your life. From the time we are young, we are taught to identify with our feelings. We hear phrases like, "I am sad," "I am angry," "I am happy," and we internalize the idea that our emotions are who we are. But Buddhism offers a radical and liberating view. You are not your emotions. You are not even your thoughts. You are the awareness in which those emotions and thoughts arise and pass. The self that says, "I am sad," is an illusion. The Buddha pointed out that clinging to a fixed identity is the root of suffering. When we believe that we are our anger, we become bound to it. When we think we are our depression, we lose sight of the part of us that is untouched by sadness. And when we attach to joy, we fear its loss. But the truth is, all emotions come and go. They are temporary visitors, not permanent residents. They are clouds, not the sky. You are the sky. Consider this. If you were your emotions, then every time the emotion change, you would cease to be who you are. But you do not disappear when joy turns to sadness. You remain. Something deeper persists. Something unchanging beneath the flow of feeling. That something is your awareness, your true nature. Buddhist psychology teaches us about the 5 aggregates: form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. None of these, the Buddha said, is self. They are processes, constantly changing. Emotions belong to the aggregate of feeling. They are sensations and reactions, conditioned by countless causes. They are not your essence. They are part of the passing show. Let's take an example. Imagine you wake up one morning and feel anxious. Your heart races. Your mind begins to worry. The usual pattern might be to say, "I am anxious," and to spiral into fear. But what if instead you said, "There is anxiety in the body right now"? That slight shift turns a storm into a passing cloud. Suddenly, you are not inside the emotion. You are watching it arise, linger, and fade. You've stepped out of identification and into observation. This shift can be life-changing. It means that even in the midst of strong feelings, you can find peace. You don't have to wait for the emotion to go away to feel whole. You can rest in the awareness that holds the emotion. Awareness is like the ocean. Emotions are like waves. Some are small, others large, but none of them define the sea. And yet, our society is built around identity. We are told to find ourselves, to be true to ourselves, to express ourselves. But Buddhism invites us to ask, what self are we being true to? What part of us is unchanging? When we examine deeply, we find that what we call I is a constantly shifting set of experiences, thoughts, feelings, sensations, habits, memories. There is no solid core. And that is not depressing. It's freeing. Because if there is no fixed self, then you are not limited by your past. You are not trapped in your habits. You are not doomed to repeat old patterns. You are fluid, open, alive. Every moment is new. Every breath is a chance to wake up. There is a story about a monk who came to the Buddha and said, "Lord, I am plagued by anger. I cannot meditate. I cannot live in peace." The Buddha replied, "That is not who you are. Anger is something that arises due to causes and conditions. It is not your essence. Watch it, and you will see it fade." The monk began to practice. Over time, he learned to see anger not as his enemy or identity, but as a temporary formation. Eventually, peace returned. This teaching is powerful because it gives a space. If you are not your emotion, then you are free to meet it without fear. You can welcome it, hold it gently, and watch it pass. There is no need to panic. You are not broken. You are not wrong for feeling. You are simply human. And the human experience includes all emotions. The goal of spiritual practice is not to eliminate feeling, but to see it clearly, and to stop mistaking it for who we are. When we no longer say, "I am depressed," but rather, "Depression is present," we reclaim our freedom. We stop drowning and begin to float. This shift also transforms our relationships. When we stop identifying with our emotions, we stop projecting them onto others. We no longer say, "You made me feel this way." We say, "This feeling has arisen in me." We take responsibility for our inner life, without blame or shame, and we become less reactive, more present, more compassionate. Think about how often conflict arises because we are lost in our emotions. One angry word leads to another. But what if, in the heat of the moment, we could remember, "This is not who I am. This is just anger visiting me." We might pause. We might breathe. We might speak more kindly. We might walk away instead of lashing out. This is not about suppression. It is about clarity. When we know we are not the emotion, we can act from wisdom, not reactivity. We can use the emotion as a signal, a teacher, without letting it drive the car. In meditation, this becomes especially clear. As we sit, we notice thoughts and feelings arise. Joy, boredom, frustration, peace. None of them stay. They come and go like passing scenery. And yet, something remains. That something is the witness, the observer, the silent presence that watches without getting lost. That is who you are. Of course, this does not mean you are cold or detached. Quite the opposite. When you stop identifying with emotion, you can feel it more deeply, without fear, without defensiveness. You can grieve fully. You can rejoice fully. But you know, all the while, that this, too, will pass. You are anchored in the awareness that is always here. There's a teaching in Zen that says, "Before enlightenment, I was depressed. After enlightenment, I am still depressed. But I am not depressed about being depressed." That is the difference. We still feel, but we no longer build a self out of the feeling. We no longer say, "This is me." We say, "This is passing through." Try practicing this in small moments. When you feel sadness arise, say silently, "This is sadness. It is not me." When joy comes, say, "This is joy. I welcome it, but I don't cling to it." Let emotions come and go like guests in a house. Bow to them, learn from them, but don't let them take over your identity. Even strong emotions like shame or rage can be softened this way. You may feel shame, but you are not shame. You may experience rage, but you are not rage. You are the field in which these arise. You are the container, not the content. And what is this field made of? It is made of awareness, stillness, compassion, clarity. When you return to that space, again and again, you begin to trust it. You begin to live from it. And from there, you can meet the world with grace. You are not your fear. You are not your guilt. You are not your pride. You are not even your joy. You are the stillness beneath it all. You are the watcher, the witness, the open heart. And in this knowing, there is peace. When we begin to understand that emotions are not who we are, a new path opens before us, a path of practical wisdom. The challenge now is not just to know this truth intellectually, but to live it. How do we bring this insight into our everyday moments, at work, at home, in conflict, in solitude? Let's begin where most of us live, in the busy flow of daily life. The alarm clock rings. The day begins. Already, emotions are present. Maybe we wake up with anxiety. Maybe we're still holding a conversation from the night before. Or maybe there's a dull sadness we can't explain. In that very first moment of waking, there is already a fork in the road. We can either be pulled into the emotion and carried away, or we can pause, breathe, and observe. That pause is everything. It is the doorway to freedom. Before checking your phone, before engaging the world, simply sit up in bed, place your hand on your heart, and ask, what is here right now? Is it restlessness, fatigue, hope, fear? Let it arise. Name it gently, like a friend arriving at your door. This simple naming is powerful. Neuroscience now confirms what the Buddha taught. When we name a feeling, we create distance from it. We shift from being consumed by it to being in relationship with it. You might say, there is tightness in my chest. There is nervousness. Not, I am nervous. But, nervousness is here. That small change in language changes everything. It brings mindfulness into the body. It reminds you, you are the awareness, not the wave. This can be practiced throughout the day. Walking into a meeting, driving in traffic, listening to a loved one speak, all are moments where emotions arise. Instead of reacting unconsciously, we can train ourselves to pause, to take one breath, to name what is present, to feel it without collapsing into it. This is not about denial. It is about compassionate presence. Imagine you are at work and a colleague criticizes your idea. Instantly, you feel heat rise, anger, embarrassment, maybe shame. The old habit might be to defend yourself, to lash out, to shut down. But now, you've been practicing, so instead, you notice, you breathe, you say inwardly, there is anger. You recognize it. You don't need to justify it or judge it. Just see it. The moment you see it clearly, it loses its power to control you. Then, you might choose to respond differently. You might say calmly, thank you for your feedback. Let me reflect on that. Or you might say nothing, giving yourself space to process. Either way, you have acted from awareness, not reactivity. You've broken the chain. This is the heart of Buddhist practice, breaking the chain of automatic reactivity. In Buddhist terms, this is the chain of dependent origination, how one thing gives rise to another. How feeling leads to craving, craving leads to clinging, and clinging leads to suffering. But if we can interrupt the chain at the point of feeling, with mindfulness, we can change our lives. One helpful tool is the rain practice. Popularized by contemporary mindfulness teachers and rooted in ancient Buddhist insight. RAIN stands for recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture. Recognize what is happening, allow the experience to be there, just as it is. Investigate it with gentle curiosity. Nurture yourself with kindness. For example, suppose you feel a wave of sadness in the afternoon. Instead of distracting yourself with food or scrolling your phone, you pause. You say, this is sadness. You allow it. It's okay to feel this. You investigate. Where do I feel it in my body? What thoughts are connected to it? And then, you offer kindness. May I hold this with compassion? May I be gentle with myself? This practice doesn't make the emotion disappear, but it transforms your relationship to it. You are no longer caught in a battle. You are present, open, spacious. You are at peace even as the storm moves through. We can also train in this through sitting meditation. Sitting quietly, we begin to observe emotions as they arise and pass. We don't chase them. We don't push them away. We just notice. Joy comes. We smile. It fades. We let it go. Frustration comes. We feel it in the belly. the jaw, the hands. We don't act on it. We don't believe the story it tells. We just breathe with it, feel it fully, and let it move. In this way, the cushion becomes a laboratory of awakening. We see with our own eyes that no emotion lasts forever. Even the ones that feel overwhelming eventually pass. And what remains? The quiet watcher, the presence, the one who sees. And that presence can begin to follow us off the cushion, into life. Now let's talk about relationships. Emotions are never more intense than when we are with others, especially those we love. A partner forgets something important. A friend cancels plans. A child speaks harshly. The old stories rise up. They don't care. I'm not enough. I'm always alone. These stories trigger strong emotions: hurt, anger, abandonment. Here again, the practice is the same. Pause, breathe, recognize. This is hurt. This is fear. Allow it. Investigate it. Where is this story coming from? Is it true? Nurture yourself. It's okay to feel this. I am still whole. This self-compassion is vital. We are not practicing to become emotionless. We are practicing to meet our emotions with wisdom and love. When we do that, we begin to relate to others differently. We stop blaming. We stop needing them to change for us to be okay. We take responsibility for our inner life. This does not mean we stay in harmful situations. It means we see clearly and act from love, not fear or grasping. Imagine being in a conflict with someone close to you. You feel angry. The urge to shout is strong. But instead, you pause. You feel the fire. But you don't act it out. You ask, what is really here? Maybe underneath the anger is hurt. Underneath the hurt is longing. You say, I feel hurt because I care. That changes the whole dynamic. Vulnerability opens doors. Blame closes them. Even in the face of injustice, we can respond wisely. Anger can arise, and we can acknowledge it, honor it, but not let it poison us. The Buddha himself did not teach passivity. He taught clarity, right speech, right action, and these begin with right seeing, seeing that emotions are not the self. When we see this clearly, forgiveness becomes possible. Forgiveness is not saying what happened was okay. It is saying, I release this burden. I choose not to carry this pain anymore. And we can only do that when we no longer identify with the wound. When we know, I am more than this hurt. Every spiritual tradition speaks of letting go. Buddhism shows us the mechanics of how. We let go by not clinging to the stories emotions tell. We feel them, yes, but we do not build our home in them. We touch them, learn from them, and let them go. In doing so, we make space for joy, for connection, for peace. Let this be your practice. When an emotion arises, meet it with curiosity. Breathe, name it, feel it, but do not become it. Remember who you are. You are the sky, not the storm, the awareness, not the wave, the presence that remains. Over time, this practice rewires the heart. We become less reactive, more steady, more loving, not because we suppress emotion, but because we understand it. We are no longer afraid of feeling. We are free, and in that freedom, a deep inner peace begins to grow, not a peace dependent on everything going right, but a peace that is always available, a peace rooted in truth. You are not your anger. You are not your sadness. You are not your joy. You are not your thoughts. You are the stillness that holds them all. You are the open space in which life unfolds. Let that be your refuge. Let that be your home. Imagine a quiet room. The world outside continues to move, cars pass. People talk, notifications ping, but inside this space, there is stillness. You sit down, gently, with intention. You're not here to fix anything. Not here to suppress or control. You're here to see, to feel, and most importantly, to awaken. This is the beginning of emotional meditation. The practice of directly observing emotions as they arise. Without judgment, without clinging, It is not about getting rid of anything. It is about becoming intimate with your own inner life. Just as you would sit beside a close friend and listen to them speak. In meditation, you sit beside your emotions with full presence. Begin by closing your eyes. Let your spine lengthen softly. Let your hands rest on your lap. Feel the weight of your body on the earth. Notice the breath as it enters and leaves. Don't force it, just follow. Let the breath be your anchor. Soon, something will come, a thought, a sensation, and yes, an emotion. It might be subtle, it might be strong, it might be joy, gratitude, or calm, or it might be fear, anxiety, sadness, anger, whatever arises. The practice is the same. Notice it. Name it gently. Ah, this is worry. This is tightness. This is a longing to be elsewhere. Stay with it. Don't analyze. Don't fix. Just feel. Emotions live in the body. Often, we think they are in the mind, but they are rooted in the chest, the stomach, the throat. As you sit, let your awareness gently scan. Where do you feel the emotion? Is it heat, pressure, a fluttering, a closing? Just notice. As you breathe, soften around the sensation. You don't have to push it away. In fact, the more you allow it, the more it begins to shift. Emotions are like children crying for attention. When we ignore them, they scream louder. When we listen with care, they often quiet. Now, ask yourself gently, what does this emotion need right now? Not what the story says, but what the feeling underneath is asking for. Maybe it needs safety. Maybe it needs rest. Maybe it needs to be held in love. Just notice. This is where compassion enters the practice. Instead of being harsh with yourself for feeling something difficult, you offer kindness. You might silently say, "It's okay to feel this. May I hold this with patience? May I meet this moment with care?" These phrases are not affirmations to escape emotion. They are offerings of presence to support you in staying with what is true. Sometimes, the emotion grows stronger. It might feel overwhelming. If so, return to the breath. Let the breath be your refuge. Imagine each inhale is a hand reaching in, and each exhale is a gentle letting go. You don't need to process everything right now. Meditation is not a therapy session. It's an encounter with the truth of the present. What's here? How do I relate to it? Am I resisting, clinging, judging, or am I allowing, opening, softening? The more we practice this, the more we begin to see something remarkable. Emotions arise and pass on their own. We don't have to push or pull. When left untouched, they move like clouds across the sky. And underneath them, something remains. Awareness. This awareness is not shaken. It is not hurt. It is the open sky that holds every storm. Let us go deeper. There may be times when an emotion has a strong story attached. I'm not good enough. No one understands me. I'll always be alone. These are not just emotions, they are narratives. They feel like truth. But when we sit in meditation and look closely, we realize they are thoughts. And thoughts, like emotions, come and go. We begin to see their shape. We see the moment a memory arises, followed by a sensation in the body, followed by a thought about what it means. It's like watching a movie frame by frame. Suddenly, the spell is broken. You are no longer inside the story. You are watching the projector. This doesn't mean the pain is gone. But now, there's space. Now, you can choose how to relate to it. You may gently say, "Ah, this is the old story. The one I learned long ago. It's okay. I see you. But I don't have to believe you anymore." Each time we do this, we weaken the chains of habit. We dissolve the glue of identification. We remember, this is not who I am. It is something passing through me. And in that realization, great peace is born. Let's talk about fear. Fear is one of the most primal emotions. It arises in the face of danger, or even the perception of danger. But often, we are afraid not of what's happening, but of what might happen. Our minds create scenarios, and our bodies respond as if they are real. In meditation, fear becomes a sacred visitor. When fear arises, don't run, sit with it, feel it, say, "Fear is here." Where does it live in the body? Is it in the throat? The chest? The belly? Bring kindness there. Ask, what is this fear trying to protect? Often, fear wants to keep us safe. It may be misguided, but its intention is not to hurt. When we see this, we soften. We stop being enemies with fear. We begin to befriend it. That doesn't mean we obey it. It means we understand it. And in understanding, we become free. Now, consider joy. Yes, even joy must be met with mindfulness. Often, we cling to joy. We want it to stay. We fear its passing. But in meditation, we learn to hold joy lightly, to savor it, but not grasp it, to enjoy the sun while it shines, and let it go when the clouds return. This too is emotional maturity, not just managing pain, but allowing happiness without addiction, not needing it to last, but appreciating it fully. Meditation also reveals the neutrality between emotions. Not every moment is intense. There is space between waves. These neutral moments are often overlooked, but they are deeply nourishing. They teach us that peace is not absence of emotion. It is presence in the midst of emotion. You might spend 10 minutes in meditation feeling nothing particular. No strong feeling, just breath, just body, just being. And in that nothingness, there is something profound, a restfulness, a returning. Over time, you might notice that your relationship to emotions has changed. The anger that once consumed you now arises like a flame, and you don't throw wood on it. The sadness that once felt endless now comes and goes like weather. Even happiness is no longer something you chase. It visits, stays a while, and moves on. This is not coldness. It is clarity. You become more human, not less, more tender, not more distant, because you are no longer fighting your emotions. You have more space to love others and theirs. Imagine sitting with a friend who is crying. You don't need to fix them. You don't need to make the sadness go away. Because you've sat with your own pain, you can sit with theirs. You can be the stillness they need. That is the gift of emotional meditation. It makes you an island of peace in a turbulent world. Not because you feel nothing, but because you've made peace with everything that comes. And you begin to trust life. You trust that joy will return. That sadness will pass. That fear will soften. That love will rise again. Not because you control them, but because you no longer resist the flow. This is the river of human experience. Meditation teaches you how to float, not drown. So tomorrow, when an emotion visits, welcome it. Sit with it. Feel it. Breathe. Remember, this is not the end. This is a wave, and you, dear friend, are the ocean. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are not your joy. You are the presence that holds them all. And that presence is where peace lives. You've come far on this journey. You've sat with your breath, listened to your thoughts, welcomed your emotions. You've remembered, again and again, that you are not your emotions. You are the one who sees. And now, we come to a deeper invitation. The invitation to live this wisdom, not just in quiet moments of meditation, but in the noise and movement of everyday life. This is where the practice truly begins. Many people think of spirituality as an escape, a place to hide from the chaos of the world. But in the teachings of the Buddha, spirituality is not retreat. It is engagement with clarity, with compassion, with presence. The path is not about avoiding the world. It is about showing up fully, no longer driven by reaction, no longer enslaved by mood, but grounded in awareness. So how do we do that? How do we carry this calm into traffic, into parenting, into conflict, into work, into grief? It begins with remembering. Just as you remember to breathe, you learn to remember presence. In a moment of tension, Pause. Take one breath. That's all. Just one. Come back to now. That's where your power is, not in controlling the world, but in how you respond. The Buddha taught that freedom does not come from changing the outer world. It comes from changing how we relate to it. To respond rather than react. To choose wisdom over impulse. To act from clarity instead of confusion. And that shift, moment by moment, is liberation. Let's look deeper into that. When we say, "You are not your emotions," we are not denying the experience of emotion. We are simply pointing to something larger. Emotions are real. Yes, they move us, color our world, shape our relationships, but they are not the totality of who you are. You are the sky, not the storm. You are the one who watches the tide, not the tide itself. This realization is not intellectual. It's something you live. Every time you watch an emotion rise and fall, you're strengthening the recognition that there is a stable center within you. A place that is not thrown about by every feeling. A place of stillness. A place of knowing. And from that place, you begin to act differently. You begin to notice when you're about to lash out in anger, and you pause. You notice when sadness wants to pull you into despair, and you hold it gently instead. You notice joy, and you let yourself feel it fully, without needing it to stay. This is not about perfection. You will still get lost sometimes. You will still forget. That's okay. The practice is not about never falling. It's about falling and waking up a little faster each time. There's a story in Buddhist tradition of a student who asked the master, "How do you practice mindfulness?" The master replied, "I fall down. I get up. I fall down again. I get up again." That's it. Simple. Honest. Human. Let's explore how to apply this in daily life. Waking up in the morning. Before you check your phone, pause. Feel your breath. Set an intention. Not a goal to achieve, but a way of being. May I be present today. May I respond with kindness. May I remember who I truly am. As you move through your day, use small moments as reminders. Washing your hands, waiting at a stoplight, hearing a bell or a bird. Let each one be a bell of mindfulness. A chance to come home. When a difficult emotion arises, pause. Breathe. Feel. Don't judge yourself. Don't rush to change it. Just stay with it. Name it softly. This is anger. This is fear. This is loneliness. And then say, "I see you. You are allowed. You will pass." If the emotion is too strong, come back to the body. Feel your feet on the ground. Hear the sounds around you. Look at the colors, the shapes, the movement. The world is always here to support your return. At night, before sleep, take a moment to reflect. Not to analyze, but to remember. What emotions visited today? How did I meet them? Was I kind? Was I aware? Where did I get lost? Where did I wake up? Celebrate your small moments of presence. They matter. They build the foundation of a different life. And don't walk this path alone. Find a community, whether online or in person. Seek those who are also practicing. Share your insights, your struggles, your questions. When we practice together, our effort is multiplied. Our courage deepens. The Buddha said, "Admirable friendship, admirable companionship, admirable camaraderie is actually the whole of the holy life." He knew that we awaken not in isolation, but in connection. And remember this too. Your practice benefits not just you. Every moment of presence you bring into the world touches others. When you don't yell back, when you listen instead of defend, when you choose understanding over blame, that ripples outward. Your inner peace becomes outer peace. Your clarity becomes guidance. Your stillness becomes refuge. In this way, emotional maturity is not just a personal achievement. It is an act of service, a contribution to the healing of the world. So when you sit in meditation, you're not escaping life. You are preparing to meet life more fully. With wisdom, with courage, with love, and over time, something beautiful happens. The emotions still come, The waves still rise, but you are no longer drowning. You are floating, even swimming. Sometimes you might even dance in the water. You become someone who can be with grief without collapsing. Someone who can be with joy without clinging. Someone who can be with others in their pain without taking it on. You are no longer ruled by your moods. You are not at the mercy of your mind. You have found a deeper home. That home is awareness. That home is presence. That home is love. This is the gift of Buddhist wisdom. Not escape, not suppression, but a radical, compassionate intimacy with your own heart. A trust in your capacity to meet whatever arises. A freedom that cannot be shaken by changing emotion. So the next time you feel something strong, stop. Breathe, welcome it, feel it, and remember. This is not who I am. This is a passing cloud. I am the open sky. You are not your emotions. You are the witness, the loving presence, the vastness in which every feeling is allowed to arise, to live, and to fade. And from that vastness, you can live with clarity, with purpose, with peace. May you walk gently. May you see clearly. May you feel deeply. May you remember who you are. And may your presence be a light in this world. As we come to the close of this journey together, remember this. Your emotions are like passing weather, sometimes stormy, sometimes calm, but you are the sky itself. Vast and unchanging. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, come back to your breath. Return to the present moment. Gently remind yourself, I am not my emotions. I am the awareness behind them. This simple truth can transform how you live, bringing peace where there was turmoil, clarity where there was confusion, and freedom where there was struggle. Thank you for taking this time to practice mindfulness and insight with me. May you walk your path with compassion, courage, and calm presence. May your heart be a refuge, not just for yourself, but for all beings around you. And may you always remember, you are not your emotions. You are the peaceful witness, the open sky, the infinite presence. Until we meet again, be well, be mindful, be free.